right, hello everybody, and welcome back to another Student Spotlight. And I am honored to have, as you saw the title, meet the McPhails, Hollywood's next big family. And I say that because they are brothers, blood, right, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, because Chris, you told me one time Jason was adopted, so I want to make sure that I got my story straight here.
I always
That's
told
right,
him,
yes.
but it turns out I'm the adopted one.
Well, who's the oldest?
Me.
Okay, I couldn't tell, so no, I'm just kidding. I can tell. But I have them here because, again, we spotlight students who excel not only in the program but are doing great things outside of the program, and especially students that have a story to tell about, their upcomings and any pitfalls and things that they have, and just showcasing the interest of them and how they help us and we help them. So I've got the brothers Chris and excuse me. I got the brothers Chris and Jason here. I'm going to start with you, Jason. What sparked your interest in getting into entertainment?
I've always had an interest in entertainment because growing up, I did some youth acting, but never really followed through with it. Then, as an adult, I always enjoyed watching horror movies and said, I can maybe do something with that. Then one day, I just happened to see an ad on Facebook for a background character for a zombie movie. So I checked it out and qualified to be in it, and it never got produced. Well, at least I got some experience, and that really sparked my interest of saying, hey, maybe I can try this. And that's when I started talking to Chris about it, and he's the one that found John Casablanca.
So yeah, that can be the thing when you're actually in it and it gives you that spark. So when I went through all of my training and different companies that I worked with to get educated in acting and modeling, and then I didn't do anything for the first 2 years. And I know Chris is going to mention this of his background. My military duty got in the way and other things. And then when I finally got on set, there was like this recharge of, oh, this is what I want to do. Like I loved everything about being on there. Chris, before we get into your background, what about you? What gave you the itch to want to be in the entertainment?
Well, again, like Jason said, I grew up in the time when VHS was just coming to the home, so movies were a lot more accessible, and it really gave an escape growing up in a small town to see the big screen in your living room. And I just always have had a very creative mind and imagination, and I've always enjoyed the big screen. So it's kind of been there in the back of my mind. And I'm a disabled vet now, so I have a lot of time on my hands. And like Jason said, he was talking to me one day, and I was looking for a way to fill that time, and found John Casablanca.
Kind of have the same path there. So, Chris, before we get into any more entertainment talk, since you two are brothers and you're on here, what was it like growing up with this knucklehead?
It's kind of funny because I was almost a middle teenager by the time he came around. I think there's 12 years between us.
Oh no! So you
Well,
were more like,
yeah.
"What is this and why is it here?"
Yeah, for the longest time, it was just me. I was the one and only grandchild out of four daughters.
Mm.
So I had the entire family to myself, and then something happened. And they just, and I think at last toll, there's probably like 30 of us now.
Uh,
But
I
yeah,
believe so. Yeah.
so he was the last one. There's one in between us, there's a middle.
mhm.
And it was fun. I was actually happy to finally have somebody around to enjoy the misery with.
And
Jason,
what misery it was.
so what misery? How was he as a big brother?
He was a great role model. I always looked up to him and asked him for a lot of fatherly advice and brotherly advice more than I ever went to our own father because he was never really there to actually answer questions. He was always there. So Chris really stepped in and was really the figure that I was always looking to look up to.
Awesome. When you guys started your journey, Jason, because I know you started it and you stopped, and then you said you were background. What was the pitfall or the reason why you had to stop, and how did you get yourself re-energized to pursue it again?
So when I first got into it, I was just cruising the internet and saw an ad for this agency, and pretty much you paid $99, and then they said they were going to get you classes and stuff like that. But really, all you did is you filled out a profile and said, "Look at our website and see if you qualify for anything." So that really pushed me away with not knowing what I was supposed to do, no guidance, no leadership. So I pretty much just walked away from it until back in July is when I actually saw an ad on Facebook for background for a haunted house zombie movie, and I knew the location was close by, so I was like, you know what, I'll check it out, see what it's like, and I really enjoyed it. And afterwards, I resparked my interest. I actually volunteered at that haunted house for the Halloween season to be one of their actors to scare the crap out of kids and adults alike. It was enjoyable. And then that's also when I was talking to Chris, and he said that he would start doing some research to see about a good agency that actually will put their effort into their students, not just collect a paycheck. And that's when he found John Casablanca, Carrie, and Raleigh, and here we are now.
Well, you know what, and I'm not saying this because they're on the show. I thank Chris for doing that research and doing that because I would have never met either one of you if he didn't do that. And I think that's the biggest thing. Anytime you're going through something, you can go anywhere where there's a name slapped on something. You can go to Harvard, you can go wherever, but it's not guaranteed what professor you're going to get. You know, you're not guaranteed what coach, you're not guaranteed who you're going to meet in any journey. And I think the people you meet is the greatest part about any journey. You know, of course, you meet some people you want to forget about, but then
Oh,
you remember people that that makes the journey worth it. Chris, throughout this process, and you can't say me, okay? Can't say me. Throughout this training, through any bumps or ups and downs, is there a coach that really stuck out to you as making it worth it, and you loved having them coaching you in class?
I was always excited and happy when I saw that I was going to be coached by Victoria. Um, Her energy, her knowledge, she always seemed very prepared. And I also found out she's a dungeon master. So
oh,
Yes.
that's like absolutely the perfect combination. And I was like, I love Dungeons and Dragons, and I haven't played in years, but that connection right there, it was cool one, just in the classes in general, just to finally be around like-minded individuals. But I made a connection with her, and I enjoyed being in her class.
What's a session that you enjoyed the most? Subject or session?
I think improv.
Mhm.
I really like. I'm pretty quick on my feet. I've got a wit. I had to dial it back a little bit because we had kids in the class. So that was good for me. 10 years in the Navy, I've got a sailor's mouth.
Oh, jeez.
Um, but it was just fun to be able to be given a prompt and just go with it, see what happens, and being able to see what other people give you to work with as well.
Right, Jason, I'm going to throw that same question to you. What's a coach that left an impression on you, and you can't say me?
Well, I would have to agree. Victoria was a great coach, but I
Okay,
also
wait,
have to
hold
say,
on. Now I'm going to move the goalposts. You can't say me, and you can't say Victoria.
well, if you had to cut me off, I was going to say her, but also I really enjoyed Coach Jackson. He was always prompt. He actually knew what he was doing. He really kept us motivated. And whenever we started rambling out with all this stuff in class, he was always there saying, "Get your guys together. We're doing this now. Stop fooling around. We got stuff to do."
You know what's so what's and Coach Jackson, if you're not ready for a critique and you're not ready to be told, especially by someone younger than you, he is not the coach for you.
Yeah, you don't want to
'Cause,
go
No,
into him
he
with
doesn't
fits.
sugarcoat it. He tells it as it is.
yes, and he's gonna keep that thing in order. I love it to death. Um, Jason, what do you see as yourself as success? Like what bar? I know we're going to keep moving the bar because we never want to feel that we've accomplished everything. But what would the first look of success look like for you? Is that being on a TV show, being in a major film?
I would say people recognizing me if I went to like a Comic Con, stuff like that, because I love going to Comic Cons and horror cons and all that stuff, and meeting the actors from low budget TV movies and big movies. Like I just got done going to the Carolina Fear Fest, where I got to meet Ray Santiago, Dana from freaking Ash and the Evil Dead TV series, Dee Wallace from E.T. Critters, like all those actors. I've always wanted to be like I want to be like them, just like enjoying life and being recognized, be able to go to events and people want to actually come and see me. That's when I would feel like I've actually struck it and at a big time, even if it's low budget movies that I'm recognized
I'm
as
going to
like
tell you what success is going to look like you for Jason. Look like for you, Jason. That's when Chris is walking down the street and they go, "Hey, that's Jason McPhail's brother."
yes, he will be my new entourage.
you want you want to be Alec Baldwin of the Baldwins. You're gonna
Oh,
be like you're always gonna be the brother that's at the top.
I want to be Mark of the Wahlbergs.
Oh God, we're gonna move on from that. So, Chris, what does like beginning success look like for you?
I think beginning success is just going to be when I nail my first audition and get my first, like, not just a background guy, or when I get my first part with some lines where I am visible and it actually makes it to where it's supposed to go. Not just filmed, but I want to be like in a commercial, or just that first one is going to mean that, hey, you did it, you set it out, and allow you, like you said, keep raising that bar.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is they still have to put it on there. I remember the first TV show I was on. I got a line and a scene. They not only didn't put the line and the scene in the show when it aired, but they did film my car. So my car got more time on screen than I did because they used my car in the scene. So so
Yeah,
they'll
you got
give
to
it to you.
clarify.
Make sure it gets up there. And
Yeah.
then, of course, success for you is them not saying, "Hey, there goes Jason McPhail's brother." There goes that
You
Tom
know?
Hanks lookalike.
Right.
So, who was an inspiration to you? I know you could probably rattle off a list of names of people that young people won't even remember the names of. But who was that one? If let me change that. If you could be in a film and be mentored by one actor, who would that be, Chris?
Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford. What about you, Jason?
Alan Rickman.
Hmm.
Alan Rickman. Okay,
Good
so
luck with
why Harrison Ford, Chris?
I think he kind of had a similar path. I know he was older when he started. He was a construction guy, a set guy, and just kind of got plucked out of the ethos, and he had what it took. And I just think that being able to hear his perspective on starting older and being able to be relevant for this long,
Yeah.
he's just he's awesome.
What about you, Jason Allen? Speak to us as why you would love to be mentored by him in a
Because
film.
he's been in a wide range of movies. He's played all different types of parts, from in the Harry Potter movies, from Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. He he just has all those type of roles, and from all the interviews I've seen him in, and people that have been acting with him, they've always praised for how great of a person he is.
Wait, Alan Rickman's not alive anymore.
Correct.
Correct.
Well, Jason, you can't be mentored by someone who's not alive.
Well, you never said live or dead. You said it
Well,
was just
I
someone that you don't want to be.
I just thought that went without saying. I want to be taught how to dance by the ghost of Michael Jackson. What are we doing? Like, who alive can you? I think everyone on set would love to have you be mentored by Alan Rickman. But who alive would you like to be? I can't even hold it together with you two.
Anthony Hopkins.
Huh?
Anthony Hopkins would be my next one because I he plays the villain perfectly in all his and the movies that he's done, and he just knows how to bring it out. And I want to be the villain in a lot of the movies. I want to be the bad guy, and if I can learn how to do it through his eyes, I would take every single thing he tells and critique with a grain of salt.
Well, Jason, he's not alive either.
You're lying.
I was gonna say he's still alive.
You said you're lying.
You
No,
about broke that boy's heart.
I remember being a kid, and when somebody died in a movie, I thought they died for real, and I would be so shocked when I saw them again. But yeah, no, he's alive. But thank you. That's a good one as well. So both of you are talking about being in major films, being recognizable household names. So we all know in this industry, rejection is a big part. There's a lot of no. Chris, what in your upbringing or past helps you deal, or do you think will help you deal with when you don't get something? Was that service in the Navy, just your upbringing? What helps you with dealing with that?
Um, Probably the biggest piece of advice I got when I was getting out of the Navy and looking for a job and trying to make the transition, the headhunter that I had, he told me to myself to never say no, to let somebody else tell you no. So he kind of set me up in the mind frame that no is part of it. So you've got to be expected that you're not going to be a fit for everything. So if you go into the world thinking that you're a fit for everything and that you can't handle no, you won't get very far. So I've learned to take the no's and try and find out why. Is it just me? Is it something I don't have that you need? Is it And that's the only way you can grow. Um, no is a great word. Yes is
Hmm.
easy.
Oh, can you say that again?
No is a great word. Yes is easy.
Okay, Jason, what about you? What's prepared you to deal with sometimes the over resounding no's that you can get in this business?
Well, all growing up, I was told no, I couldn't do a lot of things, but I would still find a way to turn that no into a yes, even if I had to go around the original person that said no and know who I need to talk to get to a yes. And then, really, I can have 1,000 no's, but all you need is that one yes, and that one yes will open the doors for everything else.
Hmm. You said you would, when you were younger, you'd go around and turn no's into a yes. I feel like that was your parents telling you you couldn't do things and you'd do it anyway and blame it on Chris. Am I right in that assessment?
Well,
Probably.
Chris wasn't really there when
I
I
was
started
gone.
doing that,
Oh,
so
you
I
were
used
gone.
he used my middle brother as a scapegoat sometimes, where I was the golden younger child, so
Ah,
I was able to get away with a lot of stuff.
You were just the
ah.
one that they were just like, whatever.
Yeah, by that time they're like, all right, we this one's gonna turn out however it turns out.
We
We've
just got to make sure he survives to 18.
stop
Yeah,
it.
they struggled at that a few times.
So I see both of you are family people and big sports people. So, Chris, I don't know if you can see it or not, but they can see it on YouTube. Under you is a picture of you with this beautiful young lady. Who is that?
That is my wonderful wife of almost 3 decades. That's Kim. She is my
Oh,
best friend.
she put up with you for that long. She must be your best friend. That no, I'm just kidding. That is amazing. And then I see both of you like to indulge in sports because under Jason, it's a picture of you and him. Is that a hockey game?
Yes, it
Oh, yeah.
is.
Is that the
Go
Carolina
Canes.
Panthers? I mean, the Carolina Hurricanes?
Yes, sir.
Carolina Games.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry. I said Carolina Panthers because I'm from Miami and we kind of, yeah, that's right. Cough it up. We kind of go ahead and got rid of them. So I took very good pleasure in that. Ironically, I'm from Miami and all of my sports teams are Miami except for hockey. My hockey team is the Penguins. So, but I'll support the Panthers because they're from where I live. So, I'll do that. Hopefully, was that a playoff game you guys were at, or that was a regular game?
I think that was a regular game. We have season ticket holders. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
one of the ways that we try to make time for each other in our busy lives is we try to see a lot of games together.
Hockey is one game that if a lot of people don't have never been to it live, is a totally different experience than watching it on TV.
Oh, yeah.
No, I
It's
can
my
watch it on
favorite sport, hands
TV.
down, in person.
Oh, totally
It's
different.
amazing.
There's certain ones that play better on TV than in person. Like football plays better on TV than in person these days.
Yeah.
Baseball plays the same either way. You fall asleep. Uh, Basketball definitely looks better, plays better for me on TV than in person. But I've been to a hockey game in person, and it's
It's electric.
It's a whole new
Yeah.
atmosphere.
yeah, it is crazy. Um, One of the things I also want to talk about is what motivates you. So everybody has an area of motivation or something that motivates them to keep them going. Is there any particular thing that you go to, Chris, that's like your well where you go and get motivation when you need it?
I think it's just a deep down desire not to be stagnant.
Hmm.
Um, I was forced into retirement almost 10 years ago, way, way too young.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really hard to deal with going from being a big provider and having a 9 to 5, so to speak.
Yeah. First and the
Working
15th,
outside.
I get it.
Yeah, and all of a sudden it was like, yeah, we're sorry, but you are in no shape to work physically anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm like, say what? So after I got through that initial phase of depression, it was just like, all right, what am I going to find to keep myself going? And it was little things. First, it was a puppy, just somebody else to care for during the day while the kids are at school and my wife was working. She's a teacher, so it was just those little things that just not be stagnant. I love learning, and I'm always looking to try new things. So that's just my insatiable thirst for knowledge. Really, I just can't stand being stagnant.
Mm, gotcha. Jason, what about you? What's that? What do you go to for motivation? And you can't say me or Chris.
Whew, thank God I don't have to answer that part. So I like to I dabble in everything. I'm like a jack of all trades, master of none. Like I like to stay active, so I will dabble in stuff. Like I for cooking, I will do molecular gastronomy. I
Mm.
studied all that, and I bought books. I played around with that for probably about good 2 3 years until I realized I wanted to try something else. So then I switched over to cooking with sous vide and making all different types of desserts and dishes. And I would serve that up for all our holiday desserts and dinners at like Chris's house or our brother Brandon's. I'd bring something like individual creme brulees or chocolate pâte de creme. And then if I'm not cooking, I like to dabble with my 3D designing and and printing to where I can try starting out my own side business with that.
I don't know who Sherwanda is, but she said Jason's lying. His cooking is terrible.
She's one of my coworkers.
I'm kidding. She didn't say that. She just said hello. She just said hello. She's here to watch. She didn't say your cooking was terrible. I'm just kidding.
I'll
Don't
vouch.
hurt me, Shawanda. I'm just kidding. I had to make fun of her because Shawanda is close to my little sister's name, Shawana. So, and I'll put it on the screen here. She said he makes great dishes for work. Also, you're one of the people because that was one of my horrors with work when they do potluck or everyone bringing food because you never know what's going to show up. And some people would bring stuff, and it's like your family eats this. So you're that guy that everyone's happy when you bring food to work.
Pretty much, yeah. And sometimes I'll bring the crock pot and everything and cook it right in the office so they already have it. Like during the winter times, I made really thick, rich hot chocolate to where 1 or 2 cups you probably have diabetes.
Oh, that's the good stuff, man.
Oh, yeah.
That is the good stuff. That's great. So I would like you to tell me what's a piece of advice because we talked about coaches that may have left an imprint or that you gravitated to most. What's a piece of advice that you've gotten that you still hold dear to you throughout your process of going through these courses?
Hmm.
I would say that some of the advice that I got was from Coach Pedro. He would always talk about not giving up or looking at things at another perspective and uh, take things with a grain of salt. Like he said, like for when you're training and stuff like that, talk to yourself, tell yourself the stuff you need to do in the mirror numerous times until you're ready to do it. And he said that you can record yourself numerous times until you're ready to have that one recording that you send off to your uh, audition, stuff like that.
God, I love Pedro. Yeah. What about you, Chris?
Um, a lot of people said this, and it echoes true with me. Is listen. Um, there's a lot of instructions given, and there's a lot of if you're not actively listening, I should say, you can just hear the noise, and then when it comes time, everyone's like, oh, "What are we doing now? Well, should we be doing this?" Or they'll start off with something completely different, and it's just like, that's for life. Just listen. That's
Are
why
you
there's
giving me a flashback of 2:30 p.m. today? Is
a
that what,
little bit.
is that what you're doing? It's so
You know,
funny that you say that because I will say sometimes I have to stop and think, am I speaking another language or am I crazy? Because you'll say something and the person's like, let me get this straight. And they'll repeat back to you the total opposite of what you
Oh
just.
yeah, they're the entire game of what did he say with a room full of people in their head.
But we always say the number one killer in this industry is the inability to follow instructions. You can make up anything else, any other shortcoming. We've seen movies and TV shows where people aren't as good as they think they are acting wise, but there's other things that they do which keeps getting them um, those roles.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So I want to do this because I always do this whenever I have a chance to have family members on or close friends on at the same time. I like a knucklehead story. Everybody likes a good knucklehead story. So I always start with you, Chris, but I'm going to start with Jason this time. Can you tell me a Chris knucklehead story that's okay to put on the internet?
oh God, I'm not really sure because all of his experiences were already when I was still way too young to really remember that stuff. He's gonna
Well,
have
it
the one.
doesn't have to be when you're young. You guys have a good relationship as adults.
Yeah. Yeah, I do plenty of knucklehead stuff all the time.
All right. Well, it wasn't really because of his fault, but I'd say it was probably about was it 5 or 6 years ago when we got that massive hailstorm. Is
Hmm.
wait when you just got your
Oh,
new truck. So when we started to get that storm, I parked my vehicle right between 2 trees, so I had at least some type of um, barrier so I wouldn't get too damaged. He had no place to really put his, so he had to keep his right in the center of his driveway. And it was a brand new truck, what maybe
a
two,
week.
3 weeks old,
It was a week old.
and we had to sit there in his driveway or in his shed or garage and just watch it get annihilated by
Oh
hail
my!
rock this big. It like shattered the windows, everything.
Yeah, it was.
And then I looked at my vehicle after the storm was over, and I think there's maybe 5 or 6 little dents on the hood. That's about it. Nothing, no windows broken or anything.
Were you covered?
No, I was covered. My vehicle was just
No,
covered
no,
by.
no. I'm talking about Chris because you know how sometimes your insurance goes, "Well,
Oh
we
yeah,
don't
yeah.
cover hailstorms."
Oh yeah, we were covered. It was weird. Is it? I had just gotten my middle son a car for graduation,
Hmm.
and it was Labor Day weekend, and he was a freshman in college, so he came home for his first weekend visit. His car got destroyed. My other
Yeah.
son's car got destroyed. My truck got destroyed. My wife's car
Gee.
got
Oh
destroyed.
my God.
Yeah,
Not mine.
it was crazy. Yeah, him over there tucked in between the trees, he was fine.
And look, and I bet you it wasn't even like these giant trees. It's like they got these little tiny bushes.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, they were
they
just
would have
they
been
were
pretty
young at
sad.
that time.
Oh man. So, Chris, go ahead and give me a knucklehead Jason story.
All right, so you'll be able to relate to this. It's a military thing,
Uh huh.
and I don't know how many people are actually familiar with buy here, pay here, but we all know that they are not where you buy a vehicle. Now, I was already out of the Navy when Jason went into the Air Force, and he was out in I think Idaho Falls.
They got him at the
Yep,
lemon lock.
Boise,
No.
Boise,
Yeah.
Idaho.
And he, I'm guessing there's absolutely nothing to do out there unless you have a vehicle.
Yep.
And he calls me and he's talking. He's like, "Man, I want to get a car. I can go in here and get this." And I'm like, "Dude, do not go to a buy here, pay here. You're in the military. You got a steady job. Get a legitimate loan and get a car." About a week later, I get pictures. Look what I bought. Buy here, pay here. I think he ended up paying like 30,000 for a 10-year-old Honda Accord.
Ugh.
By the time I got done with that vehicle, I bought at least paid for five of them, and
I'll
I
give him
drove that
credit. He
car
paid for
around.
it. He followed it through. But that
Jeez.
I
So
don't
the
tell you.
one time you didn't listen to your older brother for advice is on the most crucial time.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right. So, Jason, what do we do outside of pursuing acting and the career you're doing here? What do you do outside of that?
So I work for Wake County government. I'm in part of their IT department where I manage a lot of people's computers.
Hmm.
When I'm not working for them, I do a lot of side stuff where I play kickball with a group of people from a socials group on Facebook. I I mess around with my 3D printing a lot where I'm trying to get really into where I bought enough stuff to where I could easily start my own business if I just stop slacking off and procrastinating. Procrastinating is going to be the killer of everything.
What about you, Chris? Doing anything outside of pursuing entertainment?
I like to travel with my wife. We like to try and do at least one trip a quarter. Summertime, we try and stack it up as much as we can. Um, Anything outdoors. Last year, we bought a boat, so we like to go out and hit the lakes and just cruise. Um, trying really to figure out how to actually relax and enjoy retirement.
Okay, awesome. Here's a part of the segment where I like to give everybody about 1 to 2 minutes on their own to kind of spotlight you, and you get to talk to the audience and people who will come back and watch this video about staying motivated in their endeavors and what advice could you give them for pursuing their dreams. And I'm going to start with Jason.
So I guess the best advice I have to give for pursuing dreams is don't give up. You're always going to have those bound barriers that are going to stop you for a brief moment. Just don't make them be the permanent reason why you do stop. Always continue pressing on because if you do stop, you're not going to get anywhere. So don't ever stop. Just keep going, and the sky's the limit.
I've always wanted to say this to my sons so that they understand their purpose in life is their purpose. Kim and I did not have children to make little workers for the business world. Um, so I would say to always realize that you are here in this world to experience the world. So do what you have to do to get the money that you need in order to travel, to see other cultures, to experience all that you absolutely can. Um, it's been such a joy to me to finally be able to travel in my later years. We grew up in a very small town in upstate New York. I think we had two stop signs so that you didn't have to cross the main road without getting killed. Um, and that was a very tunnel vision world up there. And now that we actually have the opportunity and the means, travel. see other things, because it's going to open your eyes in ways that, just watching stuff on TV can't. You really need to experience life. Don't just live.
It's a very new segment on here. It's called On a Scale of 1 to 10, How Annoying is Coach John and Why? Let's get it started with Jason.
I would have to say I'll give you a 6.5 for your
Now, look,
annoying.
wait. Now, look, my name isn't on the screen, so anybody who doesn't go doesn't know that I'm Coach John, but thank you for spilling the beans. But go ahead, a 6.5 and why?
Well, right there, you just had to make sure that everybody knew that you were him, because I could have said something and you could have easily just gone on with it, but you
You
chimed in.
said you. You said I give you a 6.5. That's what
Comes
gave
back
it
to
away.
war.
But you could have just ignored it and just said, okay.
All right, cool. Well, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Who's your favorite coworker?
I would have to say Sharwana is, but Rex is a top tier because I'm sitting right next to Rex. I actually Sharwanda. I have to either wait for her to stop talking to somebody else and then yell my name.
All right, Chris. On a scale of 1 to 10, how annoying is head coach John and why?
I would say, like, honestly, a 4. Um, we get each other, and we are of like minds, and so I can't really say he's too annoying, because I'd be saying I'm annoying.
Wait, so I get a good grade because I remind you of you?
Yeah.
Is that why Jason gave me such a high grade?
It
Could
was like
be.
talking to my brother all the time whenever you call, especially when you always call me Chris.
Well, listen, hey Chris, will you tell him I've called you a couple times and said Jason?
He has, and
Yeah.
I- and
So,
and I wasn't exactly sure how to take that.
Well, like most recent time when you called me and started talking to me, saying what we're going to do for graduation. After you said what we're going to do, then he said, "Okay, Chris." I was like, "Oh, this is supposed to be for Chris." So what we're doing is because when you were talking to me, you told me that I was going to do the skit with
yeah,
Ellie. Then all of a sudden in class, I'm like, "Oh no, that's going to Chris. I'm doing something else."
yeah, I talked to him for 10 minutes about the big part he was gonna have. That's not him, because I got the wrong. But listen, Chris took me. Jason takes me calling him Chris way better than Chris takes me calling him Jason. I'll tell
Well,
you that.
a lot more history than we have time for in an hour.
This is true. Nathan Casamano says, congratulations to both of you. And
No.
Sherlight, which is Shawanda, I believe, says, good
Yep.
advice. And she also said, that's right. I think that's in response to you saying she's your favorite coworker.
Yep.
Yeah. You
What's
you
going
know
on?
you know who not to mess with at work. That's what I feel like.
Yeah.
Oh no, not at all. I have to remind her to take her hourly walks.
Awesome. She also says I order his eggnog every Christmas.
Oh, I make a killer eggnog from
Oh,
scratch.
okay.
Mine's
Um,
expensive.
here's
Well,
a
yeah,
weird
because you're with alcohol. Mine, I can't really put alcohol in it for coworkers.
Well, you
here's a
can.
weird fact. I have never had eggnog.
Really?
Ooh, we gotta change
We'll have to
that.
change that.
Yeah,
Do you
it's
drink?
not a. it's
Well, I mean, because mine's made with the traditional bourbon and rum and
I've
uh,
just not had eggnog where I grew up from Miami. That wasn't really like a Christmas tradition thing, so
coquito.
I've never had eggnog. Huh?
Coquito. That's Cuban. It's coconut and rum and creme de coco.
Yeah, but I'm not
And,
Cuban.
yeah, but Miami's got a big Cuban influence, so I thought maybe it would. But yeah, we'll make you
Yeah,
something
I've been to
different.
South Dakota. They got a big cowboy influence, but I'm not jumping on a horse anytime soon. Okay. Well, you guys are a great delight. I look forward to seeing you all in things because I love people that I have had dealings with and I can see them on the screen. Not to say, oh my God, I coached that person. It's just, it's a sense of proudness to know that people are achieving what they are. I feel like you two have the ingredients not only desire but patience. It's a career that takes a lot of patience, and that's not always an easy thing for really young people or people who have had another career already. You know, people who are kind of in their mid 20s and 30s, it's a little easier, and you guys have the right tools to get that done. So, um, what I did notice is a lot of those tools were there before you got here, so we were glad to be able to add on to that a little bit, and look forward to working on with the future because you guys are alumni. You finish next week, right?
It's hard to
Yep,
believe.
Next
30
week is
weeks.
your last session. I know it goes by fast, right?
it really
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
goes by fast. So, here's Angie. What does Angie want to say before we hop out of here? Listening with Kim McPhail and T. Middleton. Aw,
That's my wife.
Angie's
Yep. She's out with her
answer.
friends tonight.
Oh, awesome. Well, you did a great job of keeping Chris in line for 30 years so that the rest of us are able to deal with him. So I commend you on that. Um, when he retired, you retired from that part. Um, speaking of that, how was that when you first retired? Because I know one of the problems with people when they retire, especially military, like my friend told me when he retired, his wife was going somewhere, and he's like, where are you going? She's like, I'm going to the grocery store. I go every Tuesday at 12. Can I come with you? And she's like, no. And he got irritated. I'm like, it's her routine. She's got her. Don't mess with her routine.
Yeah, when she used to get home, I'd be like, "Oh, hey, how was your day? Let's talk. You want coffee? You want to get?" And she's like, "I need to decompress a little bit. Just dial
Yes.
that back. Just." So now I've learned. She comes home, I get a kiss, and then her and the dog go upstairs to decompress. So I've learned. I gotta wait.
Yeah, it's always cute those first couple times, and it's like Angie also says, "Looking good, guy." Oh, thank you. She's talking about me, fellas. Um, so I appreciate. She's seen you both before, so if she hasn't said it before, then she ain't saying it today. So
That's
she's
true.
got to be talking
You're
to
the outlier.
Yep.
I am not a liar. Oh wait, you said outlier. Never mind. All right. So great show, great advice from you guys today. I appreciate you for being a part of Spotlight, and look forward to doing a lot more work with you in the future. Okay.
Thank you.
So
Thank you. It was a
everybody
lot
have
of
a
fun.
great week. Awesome. Thank you. The brothers McPhail. Be looking out for them.
We'll see you soon.
Have a good one, guys.